What's going on, everybody? This is Brandon.
This is Bryce.
Welcome back to Weekly Wrap-Up. Holy crap, it's been 2 weeks since we've done the show.
And it's been a minute. Much need a break, though.
Yeah, it was a break. You know, everyone was on their little con circuit. I was on my baseball tour and family time. But how was the con, man? How was the con?
I mean, it was pretty good, especially for being like one of the smaller kind of mid-major shows, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah. You got to meet a bunch of dope people, man.
Dude, it was sick. So creator-wise, it was really cool to meet. Kyle Higgins was actually a super cool dude. And Jim Shooter, I probably stood at his booth and talked to him for like a solid 10 minutes.
Right. That's awesome.
My poor little cousin who's just kind of getting into comics was with me. And she's pretty much only read like The Flash and a little bit of Daredevil. Maybe a little bit. I gave her some Doctor Strange a while back. Maybe she's read a little bit of that. But she had no idea who Jim Shooter was. And I was just standing there for like, she's 13. So,
I mean, hey, that's a history lesson right there. I mean, half the Marvel universe forgets who Jim Shooter is from time to time. Like, I feel like people know Jim Shooter every time the Olympics come around, like every 4 years. Like, oh yeah, Jim Shooter is part of Marvel.
Also, I do want to
and there goes
off real quick from a couple cool people I met. Or you Mandalorian fans out there get to meet.
Giancarlo
Esposito plays Moff Gideon.
Dope. With the black saber.
Superman and Lois fans.
There you go.
To meet Mr. Tyler Hoechlin. Both great, super nice people.
There you go. Dude, that's awesome.
I'll definitely be supporting their work from here on out.
That's awesome. Wow, dude, I'm so happy that you got to go. I'm actually going to be going to AwesomeCon on Sunday, which is in 2 weeks, so you never know what's going to happen there. Shout out to everybody in the chat. This is a weekly wrap-up. This is the show where we recap, review books that came out this past week. We will be joined by a very special guest who was part of Batman Urban Legends that came out this week, and he is returning to the show triumphantly. So when he comes in, we'll shift gears and talk about that. If you guys have a book that you guys read, drop it in the comments. We'll be happy to talk about it. This has been 2 weeks. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of fun conversations to have. Let's say hello to the chat. Travis, what is going on, my man, all the way from Krakoa, my favorite guy over there. We got Dinger Jim. What's up, Jim?
What's going on?
How are you doing, sir? We got Rob. What's going on, Mr. Rob? How are you doing, sir? You've been reading books from 4 weeks ago. You know what? Me too, man. You know, you got a fat stacks of comics. You know, you really living up to your name. I hope it's thicker than a Kardashian. I hope your stacks are thicker than a Kardashian.
I stack about this big at one point of unreads.
What's going on, Perry? How are you doing? And Dank, how are you doing, my friend? We got my man Rudy. Yo, brother Rudy. What's going on? We got Kat just jumped on. We got Sheena in the house. What is going on to Sheena?
What's up, Sheena?
We got Cosplay Kylie in here. How are you doing today? And I know Jim said that he was reading Static by Vita Ayala, which has been fantastic. My introduction to that. Defenders, which we're going to jump into, which is actually what I'm going to talk about in just a bit, so we're going to hold off on that. And Moon Knight, second issue, that drops next week, and it was very solid.
Moon Knight was great, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I think Moon Knight was just a great way of letting us know what Moon Knight is going to be doing and what his role is in the Marvel Universe. And what's up, Nick? What's going on? Nick? How are you doing?
What's going on? And
we got Johnny Boy in here, who's actually going to be live on TikTok in an hour. So I'm going to be hopping over there, saying hello to him. When we're done over here, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be hanging out with him on TikTok. If you guys don't know, I am on TikTok too. I started TikTok just about 3 weeks ago, and I think I just hit 500 followers, so that's pretty big. So TikTok is huge. I'm hoping to get to that 1K so I can go live over there. But dang, man, that it's been an incredible journey. I know I've been a little bit.
You have to have 1K to go live on TikTok?
Yeah, unfortunately. And then it's 10K to monetize. So another thing you guys may not know is I do football content, which actually I'm about to hit. I'm almost getting back to 15K over there. So I monetized over there. So that's a different story. So I've been just doing content everywhere, saying hello to everybody. Yeah, and Titans has been out, so that was definitely loaded. I haven't seen the third episode. I saw 1 and 2, but the third one, my frustrations with that show are so. Ugh, I can't stand that show.
Here's my deal with Titans. I look at Titans as an Elseworlds.
What's going on, Fit?
What's up, Fit? What's going on, Michael? How you doing, man? But yeah, like, I don't know. I look at it as an Elseworlds. These are characters in name only, and I'm just kind of taking everything as I can. I enjoy the story, even though they haven't stayed as true to the characters. Now, I will say, Ryan Potter, in my opinion, was a perfect casting for a live-action Beast Boy.
Yeah, I think that was perfect. My biggest frustration
is a good Dick Grayson. He's just
no, like the cast is fine. The cast is fine. It's my problem is the production and the way that everything is paced out is so much like it almost feels like the way Star Wars was. If we don't get this much fan audience, we're gonna lose our budget. Look at Swamp Thing; it just lost its budget. It didn't have it. So I feel like in order for them to do that, they have to just throw everything there. Right, they just have to throw everything in the water, and it's like, okay, we're gonna put Trigon, Deathstroke in the same season. Dick Grayson finally became Nightwing at the end of season 2, but we don't even have that fresh of breath there to see that iconic switch or that iconic transition before we're already seeing Jason Todd and Tim Drake being introduced. Well, Jason Todd as Red Hood being introduced simultaneously. So to me, that wasn't. I'm like, come on, you don't have to rush it.
Now, Kieran Walters' Red Hood was dope. Especially if they're going for more that villainous route.
Okay, yeah. I'm there for Dove. I'm here for Dove. At the end of the day, I'm there for Dick Grayson and Dove. Come on. Dove is hot as hey, you know what? I'm with you. But I'm kind of getting sick of Hawk. I'm kind of getting sick of him.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sick of him.
Okay.
I haven't seen the third episode. I don't know what happens. I'm like, I know what happens at the end of the second episode, but I'm like, I'm done with this guy. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but yeah, Titans is something that I love because it's where I get some of my favorite characters in the DC universe. So I take it very seriously. I take Starfire very seriously. I take Raven more seriously than everything else. Yeah, Bryce, shut up. And Wally too, right? These are iconic characters that constantly get mistreated, even though Wally's not in the show. It's
which I would love for them to. My biggest frustration with like season 1 or season 2 was that Garth was only in a flashback.
Yeah, Garth was dope.
Garth would have been one of the best characters.
Right. Right. But this has been a great way to kind of warm up our show a little bit. Let's hop into. You just finished season 1. You were oh my gosh, I feel so bad. But enjoy Deathstroke in season 2.
Deathstroke actually isn't bad.
And Dr. Light.
Trigon frustrating.
Dr. Light was rushed too. I'm like, you guys could have literally let these guys breathe. Like you could have had 4 seasons of literally everything here. Because you can still bring in Connor. You can still Crypto is literally the MVP of season 3 so far. Crypto. I'm sorry. Crypto and Dove's attractiveness are the highlights so far. I have to say.
Dog attractive.
I find Dove attractive, not the dog. I said Crypto and Dove's attractiveness, like Dove as a character, her attractiveness. Dude, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Her fight scenes are so poorly. I don't care how I phrase it. Yeah, season 2 was a dud. Season 2 sucked.
I enjoyed the Deathstroke bits for the most part. But yeah, Donna Troy was the way they Donna Troy, because I know Rob just finished season 1. Donna Troy at the end of season 2 was so stupid.
Yeah, I was like, damn, man. Because you already killed Tempest or Aqualite at the time. And then, honestly, they're getting too busy with so many characters, and we really haven't even thought out the ones that it's supposed to be about. What do we think of the Deathstroke suit? I love when you guys ask us questions. Bryce, you can hop out this one first.
Wasn't a fan of the suit. The Deathstroke character and Slade Wilson's character was dope.
Right.
The suit, on the other hand, he almost looked like an animatronic in the suit.
Definitely.
They gave him no room to move around in the suit.
Oh, he looked like RoboCop.
It's too clunky too.
Right. I agree. I feel like the only one that had a lot of wiggle room was Donna Troy, but that's because she doesn't wear a lot of clothes.
I think Beast Boy had a bit of wiggle room in his suit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like the character. I liked the actor. I just didn't like their costumes haven't been the best honestly.
In my opinion, if you want the best live action Slade Wilson, which there aren't that many, but if you want the best live action Slade Wilson, then Titans is a good. Then Titans is a good route.
I love the actor from Batman, who plays Bruce Wayne in Game of Thrones. He was fantastic in Game of Thrones. I'm like, he sucks as Batman, which I get because Batman's not supposed to be a focus, but the fact that they put him in way too much of a role. He literally is too much of a role for a character that's not supposed to have this. Like, I'm sorry. We do have another question, very off topic, which I love off topic questions. Do we have any predictions for Trial of Magneto? Yeah, because they have their suspect list. Magneto, I feel like Magneto is going to have a much easier time than Deshaun Watson is in this lawsuit. For those of you who don't understand that football reference, just look it up. Just look up Deshaun Watson. But I think Magneto is going to get off the hot seat because he's not – I don't know.
I mean, he's a member of the Quiet Council.
Yeah, so he's definitely going to be looked at, but I don't think it was him. I don't think it was him at all whatsoever. I think it's aimed to be like him, but knowing Jonathan Hickman, there's something that we're supposed to know in House and Powers of X or in some random ass issue. It could be my predictions is they're going to bring Phantom X back in some way. They could definitely work in some Phantom X. They could definitely work in some more of that tension between Destiny and Mystique and Moira. Maybe Moira came out of her closet for this because she is to make an appearance, and this is definitely setting the stages for Inferno.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to unravel Hickman is honestly trying to get a 3-year-old to do a backflip.
The way I view anything that Jonathan Hickman is spearheading is I just try to... Good Lord, I mean, probably. Also... I'm just going to say, because I know a lot of you probably haven't seen season 3, but all I'll say is Barbara in season 3 straight murdered Bruce.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was awesome.
That's all I'll say.
That was awesome. I love that moment. I just don't like how I just don't like her situation. Anyway, but let's hop into the books. I want to talk about Defenders #1. This is by Al Ewing, who has been kind of the silent beast mode at Marvel these past few years. He's heading the Cosmos. So if you're not caught up in the cosmic side of Marvel, it was established during the pandemic this time last year, Marvel Comics 1000, which you don't know, and Marvel Incoming, and that has kind of been slowly built upon in his Guardians and Empire and in Sword. Is all paving the way, and it's going to be furthered in Venom. And this book is obviously, for me, really taking that to a new level and really expanding the narrative that Al Ewing is trying to build in the cosmic universe. The art is by, why on these variants they not put the credit to the front page, Javier Rodriguez, and his art is fantastic. Check out the Marvel History of the Marvel Universe. Wow, but that he did with Al Ewing, or not Al Ewing, with Mark Waid. Oh my god.
But it is a cosmic book, because when I was
this is a very cosmic magic book. So it's centered around Doctor Strange and Eternity Mask. Eternity Mask we haven't seen since Marvel Comics 1000. We saw him here and there in the Iron Man 2020 that I didn't read nor did I care about because I don't like Christos Gage, but that's a different story. And Doctor Strange is kind of upside down. He's kind of he's going through like his tarot collection just to like kind of keep up to date on where the cosmos is on his side of the platform. And Eternity Mask shows up and he's like, I'm the Masked Raider, but he's wearing the Eternity Mask, so that's where we get that from. And he's pointing a gun in his head and he just wants to talk, but instead of saying, hey, I want to talk, he points a gun at his head. So if you guys don't know the history with that, with Marvel Comics 1000, is he set out to find this mystery man who went around murdering people throughout timelines. Basically the overarching tale in Marvel Comics 1000. So they fight, and then it's revealed that the Enclave, which was a group of people formed together in the past, they conjugated and came together. But this guy, Carlos Orta, ditched and kind of went rogue, killed some people, and he's going through the timeline. Attorney Mass needs to find him. He knows where, like, when he disappeared to, but they don't know exactly where to find him. So it's like, okay, we know the timeline, but now we got to figure out, we got to get a team together because this is a real big thing that could protect the timeline, protect the multiverse. So Doctor Strange assembles a team, him and the Masked Raider assemble a team by drawing tarot cards to kind of pave the way, taking a page out of what's his face, Jonathan Hickman's book. What's up, Herminio? So we're dealing with that, and we get the team together. Obviously, we have the two kind of curators, and we get some classic characters like Silver Surfer coming in, and then we have the Red Fairy. Who is Red Harpy, which is Betty Banner, who is formerly known as Red Hulk. She was also a former Defenders teammate, and then they get Cloud. And I believe that is it. And so that's really it, is how they introduce the team and where they're going. They end up actually going to the point in the Marvel multiverse where they have to fight against. They have. What's up, Mario Reyes? How are you doing? What's going on? So, great. Thank you, Herminio. We actually get to the part where they're fighting Galactus's mother. So we're going to be dealing with that in the following issue. The art is fantastic. The colors are very much, they're very vibrant, and they're very much a good reflection of this story. I'm trying to think of, it's not like Tradmore, but it's not like Dave Stewart's colors it feels like Dave Stewart's colors in Silver Surfer Black, just not in Tradmore style. But if you like Silver Surfer Black, I think you're gonna like this book just because of the way that it flows, very similar. You know what I'm trying to say. But
good to know.
Especially if you like magic and you want Doctor Strange where no one else has been able to write him, this is definitely it.
That's okay. I passed on this book, but you got me wanting to go back and buy it now. So
it's dope. I liked it. It's going to be an adventure, and if you know Al Ewing, he's very good at world building. So he never does anything on accident. So Al Ewing is doing this, and it just looks great. There are a lot of cool little Easter eggs, and the dynamic of everything really just pops out of the page as they're like kind of going through everything. Like, just look at this page of Silver Surfer. That's Miss Marvel.
That's gorgeous.
What am I doing? Right?
That is gorgeous.
It's dope. It's so dope, and I really enjoyed it. Not to say it was my pick of the week, but it's definitely something that I was excited for. I'm always excited for Al Ewing's next books. I think he's slowly becoming one of my favorite writers in Marvel, and Digger Jim liked it. There you go. There you have it, folks.
I'm going to talk about a book next that came out. I can see that. I can see that, especially after something Brandon hasn't watched yet.
Oh no, I do know what she did. I do know who she's teaming up with. I just fell asleep right after.
Who's she teaming up with then?
I'm not gonna say it. He's a guy teaming up with another prick. She's teaming up with a prick.
Fair enough.
Excuse my French, but
but yeah, so the book I'm going to talk about today, just a quick synopsis and a quick recommendation, and then I'll go into something else if that's cool. The Flash, 772, came out a few weeks ago. The Flash has kind of been up and down since Joshua Williamson left. They've tried making Wally the Flash again, and this is the first official issue of Wally West as the Flash. This is the first official issue of his story per se that's not fixing heroes in crisis.
Are you saying they're moving away from it more so? Or just moving on?
Well, okay. They're moving on after it, but they fixed the whole Wally West mass murderer thing.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yes, very, very. So basically, if you don't know, it was the Speed Force surge that killed everybody. It wasn't Wally. It was
I read this book then.
You read the annual.
I just forget. No, I read this.
You read that? You
I
did
read
read
this. I just forgot I read that.
This is actually a lot of fun. Jeremy Adams did a great job with this. Will Conrad did a great job with the art. You can't go wrong with Alex Sinclair's colors. What's going on, Fable? Alex Sinclair, friend of Comics Kings.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this entire issue is basically Wally getting a job, which is hilarious, especially since he's been gone for a while and he doesn't know how. He's not very technologically savvy.
Right.
Until he gets hired by Mr. Terrific, and it's basically like, yeah, you can come and go as you please. Like, I know you're the Flash. You got to do whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's some Heatwave in this, which I love seeing rogues like Heatwave. That's what I love about the Flash.
Heatwave is definitely kind of a witty character. By the way, you guys don't go anywhere because our special guest will be here in a little bit. I told them 8:30. So
definitely want to stick around.
Definitely want to stick around because Bryce will be meeting him for the first time.
It'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, if you guys have been frustrated with the Flash since Joshua Williamson left, jump on at 772. I think you'll really enjoy it. It'll be a different feel, but I think you'll really enjoy it.
Speaking of, I'm definitely gonna be hopping back into Flash. Speaking of our guest, let's welcome. He's returning to the show. He is a Canucks fan, my favorite Canucks fan, because I don't have very many of them. Let's welcome Marcus Anthony Toe back to the show. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
I'm good.
What's going on, Marcus? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Bryce. I had to wear the Robin hat, and
there you go. That's the closest thing I have to Tim Drake. It just happens to be the better Robin.
Yeah,
I just forgot to wear Nightwing today.
Well, I had a Red Robin. I have a Red Robin T-shirt as well, but I thought it's a little bit too much red, maybe. So I thought I'd break it out with some Wonder Woman.
There you go. There you go. Which that's something we will also be talking a little bit because issue 777 came out today. So definitely looking forward to discussing that. But what have you been up to, man? You've been doing a lot of cool work with Urban Legends. Kind of doing the story with Chip Zdarsky and Excalibur, which continues to excel.
Thank you very much. I've also added a couple more things. I am recently a part of the Marvel Voices comic featuring Asian creators and Asian superheroes, and doing the short that includes Shang-Chi. So
there you go.
I overwork myself a little bit much.
Yes, but look at how much you're able to do. You know, that's just credits to you as an artist. Everything's coming out on time. Everything is clean. And you're still making Betsy look the best you can. And Shang-Chi, man, Shang-Chi, that is fantastic. That's fantastic. What are you most looking forward to with the movie coming out?
Well, I mean, you just hope it's good, really.
Right.
I'm looking forward to it because it's existing, but we're at kind of a point that's like we're at interesting times at MCU because we're talking about a lot of characters that aren't the Iron Mans and the Captain Americas. So it should be interesting. It should be interesting. I hope we look back at this as like maybe the official starting point for the next series, like whatever long haul of the next 10 years or whatever, right?
Right.
Which it's kind of coming out at an interesting time too, especially where the MCU is going more cosmic and multiversal.
Yeah.
And then here we have Shang-Chi, which I'm definitely looking forward to. But it's interesting how a martial arts movie fits into this grand scope that they're trying to achieve with the next few phases.
Well, maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe it doesn't have to.
Maybe it doesn't have to. Exactly. I mean,
that's the thing about Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? Is now Falcon was never really a character people loved and adored in the comics, even when he was brought in. Even like in modern comics, other than the Brubaker run, which he didn't get a whole lot of love in, but it was still the best written Falcon we had. Until Nick Spencer came on and he became Captain America, and now look what we have, right? It's kind of those setting stones. What Shang-Chi can bring to the table is this movie can make the character more relevant. The comics that Jen Luen Yang has been putting out have been fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, the MCU is able to make people interested in characters that we never thought, who never thought Agatha Harkness could look so badass. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. Also, it kind of paves the way for a lot of your street level heroes. So
100%.
You can get Iron Fist, you can get Daredevil, you can get a lot more. You can even maybe bring back Luke Cage. You can get and it just really just paves the way, in my opinion.
It does, and I mean, especially with how Marvel kind of started. Even though you can argue that they tried to start, jumpstart the MCU with Incredible Hulk, but really Iron Man was the the one that really jump-started it. And other than comic fans in the know, everyone else didn't know who the hell Iron Man was, and now he is probably bigger name than anybody in that Marvel universe, arguably.
Right.
in outside of the outside of us who grew up with comics.
Right. 100%, and I've talked with the Steve Englehart. He was recently on the show, so that was definitely a big discussion in how Shang-Chi can be a relevant character, and how he can kind of maintain that same life that Tony Stark did, and that Robert Downey Jr. was able to bring life into that character. I hope Marvel keeps the same kind of structure with their contract. I know that they've been a little bit more loose about it's more about the number of projects, let alone the years you have.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people will get to Shang-Chi the way that a lot of people got to Black Panther. Look what that movie did, or how a lot of people were able to relate to Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, at this point, you would think you got to trust the long-term plan, right, of Kevin Feige and those at the Marvel MCU. So it should be interesting. Should be interesting.
100%. But let's actually get to the conversation that we had you on here for. And we're gonna kind of segue that in with this question. What do you guys think about Tim Drake coming out as bisexual? Which there's been a lot of controversy in the comic book world as someone who kind of partook in the events and who has been kind of promoting it a lot. I would love to have your opinion.
Well, to start off with, for those that don't know, I basically got my first start in the Big Two on Red Robin, which was basically Tim Drake coming out of the shadows of out of his Robin uniform and out of the shadows of Batman and kind of on his own for the first time, like truly on his own. And I worked on that book for like 2 years, so a good 20 issues or so. And ever since then, when I worked on it at the beginning, I loved the character myself, but this was pre the internet, right? Well, not pre the internet, but pre the internet as we know it now. And I had no consciousness of how people saw Tim Drake, other than the way I saw him. So, and that was what, 2010? I want to say 2011-ish. So it's been like 10 years. So even from till now, people have really appreciated my work on that book. And from those 10 years, I have talked to so many fans of Tim Drake and how much how they saw Tim was someone that was queer, right? And there was a lot of discussion about sexuality and the evolution of the character to discover that path, as so many people that I've heard from also had those journeys of discovering themselves and their own sexuality, right? And I think that the DC has seen that in themselves, all the discussions about these characters and how they see them. and I like, I'm not part of the decision making process by any means. I haven't worked on Tim Drake in 10 years, but I've always heard fans talk to me about that, and it is important to them, and I understand why. Even though from a person on my side of things, that I'm just here to listen, to learn, and to hear what fans have to say. And to be honest with you, they've been loud about Tim and his sexuality since I started, which is 10 years, and I, from my point of view, I see it as I see it as a win to find that, to have that voice that people have been crying out for so long.
100%. I agree. I've on my end, I've spoken to a lot of people who are for or against the change. And people make a lot of strong points. I feel like people who make the most against are more, I don't want to say sound bigotry, but sound less like, okay, this is a character I've known for 30 years. Characters grow, characters change. And as you said, people discover themselves at different ages, right? What's up, Aggressively Relaxing? How you doing? I love that name, by the way.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But for me personally, as long as it doesn't change what we love about Tim, when you started reading Tim, if you read his first appearance, you off the shelves when you were a kid or teenager, whenever, or you started reading him later, you didn't fall in love with him for his sexuality. You fell in love for the traits that defined him. And for me, I don't care what the change is. I'm all for it. As long as you don't take away from the real reasons why we love the character, why we got attached to the character.
Exactly. I'm kind of the same way, especially when it comes to fictional characters.
Right. It is a win. It is a win for Tim Drake fans because this is just more development for him.
And here's one thing too that's kind of interesting, because it's I had a discussion about this before. I'm never here to judge how people consume their fiction, right? For me, though, I'm very passive about my consuming of fiction. I like reading it, and when I put it away, I just put it away. I don't really think about it. I just read it as almost face value. I do the same thing with a lot of things that I love. The only thing I maybe deep dive on is hockey, but only because there's a lot of statistics involved, and I like looking that stuff up.
Also, it's just fun to be a Penguins fan sometimes. Well,
it's the last 10 years. But that's the thing, right? But other people, how they see characters and how they consume their fiction, it is a little bit more kind of reading between the lines, building fantasy in their heads about what those characters represent to them. And who am I to tell you that that's the wrong way of doing it? Because that's important to them. So for me, it is a lot of just listening and learning, especially as a creator in the industry. It would be bad of me to not listen. Even on the negative side, I do understand that. I have conversations with my friends all the time about kind of differences in character and how to write stuff. And you could argue about writing till you were blue in the face, because either I don't like a certain writer and I don't like a certain artist at different times of a character's lifespan in comics. So yeah, like you said, as long as he is who we loved him as, all the other stuff is relatively superfluous to me. But
right,
exactly.
Right. And at the end of the day, comics are a representation of what we kind of want to escape in. That's kind of why we got in there. Some runs that resonate to us more than others. Even Tim Drake's sexuality really shouldn't change the way you see him, right? Just like if I have a friend that and I have my best friend who actually I started Comics Kings with, he's bisexual, we're best friends to this day, and he's my best friend because of how we connect, how we've developed our relationship. Same thing. It's the same way with people in Tim Drake,
Exactly.
Characters grow, characters change. Look at Iceman, when with what Cena Grace did, what was it, in a few years ago with Iceman,
Mhm.
and that was another lingering question. Look at we still maintain the same love for Iceman that we did all those years ago.
I think the reason why it's important to kind of celebrate these things, though, is because for so long you weren't allowed to, right? Anything you did to celebrate that, you know, you have to basically hide a lot of time. Like we're in a relatively new age where a lot of people don't care anymore, but we're not that far removed from when you weren't. And there was this tweet from Ian McKellen saying this is his 30th anniversary of going up on the BBC to announce his sexuality, and how much that meant to him to finally just be who he was without hiding or worrying about it. Same thing with I can't. Who was it? It just happened in sports recently. I think it was the first.
Openly
gay football player, but also hockey player who was drafted by the Nashville Predators, and the way he said it was like, now I don't have to worry about who knows, who doesn't know, who does, like, it's still, people say, oh, we shouldn't celebrate that, but I mean, like, it matters in the ways that we don't really know yet, because it's people younger than us that maybe see it and they be like, oh, right, it's okay that I don't have to hide this, or maybe I can figure this out, right, like somebody else. And look, I'm a straight guy. I have nothing to worry about with that kind of stuff. So I feel weird talking about it, because I mean, I have an opinion, but my opinion isn't really, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it has less to do with people that actually have to live through this. All I can do is listen to what they tell me and try to celebrate them for who they are, and that's it, right?
And that's really our job, is to create the best world we can for everyone around us. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you never know what you can do to affect someone. Mm-hmm. And to a lot of people, right, like you said, it's a struggle. Self-discovery is a struggle. So finding your sexuality is a struggle. And even like acknowledging it, right? Especially because like the stereotype sometimes for straight people is mm-hmm. that they're against it.
Yeah.
Which is a little, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who I met through conventions, and he was married and had kids before he kind of admitted to himself finally that he was gay. Like that's legitimately a true journey, that people go through. And that's right. why when people argue that, oh, they're just suddenly this, I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, if you think about in a way, it's announced like it is, like, we're just changing this character, but people change and find themselves, and I don't think it's that out of norm to have that, right. That relatively
right.
Yeah.
And hopefully this paves the way for other characters, for them to either be created as LGBTQ plus, or for other characters who kind of have had that history. Like, look at what we've seen with Kate Pride, mm-hmm. right? Or even Betsy Braddock is bisexual, but mm-hmm. they were never established that way in the first place.
It's kind of funny. So, like, I'm a big Star Trek fan, and they explore these things for a lot of their episodes and different things like that. So when the new movies came out and they were like, oh, one of the characters going to be gay, and they made it Sulu, I'm like, well, I get it, because the original actor was gay, but who would probably be, like, I always thought, especially the way TOS was written, you would gotta think Spock's gay. Like, you have to think that he is, like. And you know what I mean, but that's what we're talking about with writing, where and especially when you're, like, say you're watching or reading something, you could read into something and feel that, like, from their interaction, right. that would be a thing, and it's not, I just don't feel the argument with someone that says that, like, oh, all of a sudden. I'm like, well, everyone reads into how. and that's the beauty kind of fiction in general, right? Because the three of us could read something, the same thing, and we got something completely different out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the round table of discussing why you felt that this, isn't that why we read comics and talk to each other about things, and
Right.
No,
Definitely.
and, like,
Go ahead, Bryce.
I was gonna say that's the whole thing too. Fiction in general, whether it's comics, TV, film, it's all subjective. Each person is meant to get something of their own out of it. And that's what's great about it, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. And
100%.
kind of learning, and especially as friends, right? Like you want to surround yourself with friends and share your ideas and maybe learn something out of it. Because you take, like the thing you're watching, and you don't have to always agree, but maybe that's where maybe that's where sometimes we're kind of to a point where you kind of go online to hopefully either find people you agree with and just stick with that, or find people that you want to yell at. There's not really a lot of middle ground, it seems.
It depends. It depends on the argument.
Called out on that one.
Hey, I like doing it too, but
it's when you get the fake account and
yeah.
Sometimes I won't even yell at anybody. Sometimes I'll just look. Sometimes I'll just look up controversial takes. Just to get me a little riled up, and then I'll just go away from it and be like, that was fun.
You like to sip that tea a little bit,
Right. We all do. We all do at the end of the day. Especially during hockey season, right, Marcus?
Season is just as fun because of the signings and different things like that. I had some hot takes on the LA Kings, man, but it's all good.
But
see, I've learned something from this that I got to get into hockey.
You don't have to do any of that nonsense.
No, that's all right.
I don't know, where are you from though? Like, do you have a local team or something, or?
You're not. I'm from West Virginia, and we have zero.
Jack shit.
Oh,
he has Steve Harvey. That's it.
Yeah.
No, I kind of go all over the place.
Right.
I got a team in Cincinnati, a team in Miami, a team in North Carolina.
That's cool, man.
Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay.
Oh, I'll say this: I'm from Alberta, and I do not cheer for any of the Alberta teams. So,
hey,
there you have it. So I get it.
I'm from Pittsburgh. I bleed black and gold.
Oh my gosh.
Basketball, yeah. I get to choose. I get to choose the Clippers. So I don't care what any of you salty Laker LeBron fans have to say.
I'm not a LeBron fan at all.
Thank
you.
you.
To be honest with you. I'm no Clipper fan.
I was growing up, and there's still. If I had to pick a favorite player right now, it's Jimmy Butler. But I've been a LeBron.
You guys, I'm significantly older than you guys.
Yeah. That's significant. I don't see any gray yet, but
Well, how old do you think I am? I'm
36.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
I was gonna say 32.
Yeah, 37. 38 in a couple months.
So close. I was so close.
Yeah, you're really close. But so my era is the Jordan era.
Okay.
And Jordan wasn't even my favorite player. It was David Robinson.
Of course it was. I met him once. Wait, did I know?
Oh, really? Nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, I shook his hand, but I don't think he really I didn't really meet him and say, "Hi, I'm Brandon." I shook his hand.
Yeah.
His son was playing for Duke. His son was a bench warmer, and I was at a Duke game, and he was right there. Nice. So it's like, oh my gosh, he almost broke my hand.
Well, that's why nowadays basketball throws me off, because I mean, bad boy era basketball was holy jeez.
Oh my gosh! If they played today, they would dominate the game.
My favorite player of all time is Dennis Rodman.
Well,
well, it's just different though, right? Because you can't do any of that now. Right. So,
but with my argument is the Olympics are the most classic style of basketball that you can see.
Yeah.
And the USA team had a very hard time getting that gold.
Oh, very.
Well, they normally do, because not since 90s Dream Team era, but even 90s Dream Team, if Yugoslavia stayed together, they would have really had them on the ropes. I don't know if you guys remember Yugoslavia or what. Basically, it was the Czech Republic and then Slovakia. Anyway,
Yeah.
the point
They
was,
had like Tony Kukoc and Drazen Petrovic on the team.
oh yeah, Petrovic and what's his name, Divac, and that
Ooh.
team was legit, man. Yeah, it's different times, and again, this is the thing about comics. Like we go back to comics and sports, like there's so many eras of these things, and we're very lucky nowadays to have the ability to see it all, if we wanted to. That you kind of have to take things with a grain of salt, and especially with and this will be a joke, but I mean, I don't. Hopefully, this is not. Don't people take it serious? But I saw a tweet that I kind of laughed myself at, where people made fun of Robin for being gay for like ever, and now when one is actually gay, there's, it's just kind of funny. It's just I just gotta like that kind of thing where you're like, oh god. Because I used to get made fun of all the time. I loved Robin. Like I dressed up as Robin and all that stuff. Get made fun of that shit all the time for it.
And then you ended up drawing him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the turntables.
Yeah.
How the table turns, right? Is that? But at the end of the day, you guys.
Have you ever seen The Office, Brandon?
What's an office? I work in one. I don't want.
Okay.
Okay. I know. But yeah, at the end of the day, right? This decision or this kind of like revelation. Let's call it a revelation. Can mean more to someone else, and if it doesn't connect with you, that's okay. Doesn't mean it's wrong. That doesn't mean it's wrong at the end of the day whatsoever. It just means that this is another character we have that people can see themselves in.
And the ability to maybe explore different stories that maybe you weren't before. I mean, it's hard to say. I'm not a writer. I don't know. I'll just draw the damn thing. But I mean, like, if people have ideas and are able to do it, and you can argue that you want to make new characters, but maybe because of these kind of characters, they feel more emboldened to create new characters for different stories and things like that. So we'll see.
I actually have seen that. I have seen that.
That actually made me laugh.
It's hilarious, but I've seen people say Stan Lee wouldn't have wanted this.
I'm just like, fuck off. Other than all of this, Marcus, how's Excalibur looking?
It's looking pretty good, I'd say. I wish I could show you some pictures, but it hasn't been released yet.
Right. I'm excited. I'm excited for the hardback coming out soon. And then the next issue comes out, 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's the one with Dr. Doom in it. That was really fun to draw.
There you go. Yeah.
I had a great time drawing Dr. Doom. But the next bunch of issues is oh man, I think I'm gonna kill myself these next few issues. It's gonna be a lot of army versus army fights and stuff like that. And I was like, oh god.
Well, that's what happens when you have a battle in Otherworld. I mean,
I should have known.
We knew. Now everything that was kind of being established in the first few issues is now kind of coming full circle with Morgan Le Fay coming back, and then and what was Merlin just being a cranky old bastard trying to take over Saturnine again. He couldn't live with taking an L, so he's going to war. Yeah. So you got a lot of stuff going on, man, and it's exciting. It's really exciting seeing how the Excalibur team, and then Richter's also a little frustrated.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's reading that way, because I mean, when you're working on the book, it's hard to, because you're like, oh, this is a great idea, and you're excited drawing it, but I always wonder, because I'm not, I don't read it like that anymore. So the beats, I'm like, did it work? You know what I mean? Like, and I, that's why I also like, good or bad, I do want to hear from people what they think about it, because it only helps me, right? Like, if the climax worked or not, it's like if a comedian telling jokes, right? Sometimes you'll tell the joke and it didn't land properly, and you got to fix it a little bit so it lands the way you need it to.
Right.
Yeah.
I can say like I have spoken to a lot of people who haven't liked it. I think their biggest critique is a lot of the things that was like kind of happening with Apocalypse was felt a little bit rushed and forced to get to Ten of Swords. And the dynamic with Richter, they felt he didn't have enough connection with Apocalypse to really be this agitated. Or like kind of going against a lot of what the Hickman plan of resurrection or but to me, I feel like I was able to pick up on it a lot more and all the beats. I mean,
the Richter thing, I'll agree with you. Because I wish that we did have a little bit more time to kind of like develop that relationship. It did seem a little bit like we kind of just placed it there. With I would say good reason, but you know, for a reader to experience that same feeling, you know, we set up the reason and you kind of missed a couple beats of them maybe together.
Right.
So
I
can see
I think
that.
a lot of people got lost in Ten of Swords because like, okay, you have to Excalibur was such a complex start to get to Ten of Swords. And then after it was like, okay, we have a lot of, I feel like in Excalibur you have more stuff to worry about than like other books like X-Force or Hellions, because Hellions is such a light read, especially for me, because it's just Sinister making jokes, in my opinion. And
then X-Force is a very grounded.
It's just Beast. Well, it's just Beast being an asshole.
I'll say this, I don't know really what the plan was, but when there was that 3-month break with the publishing schedule, that really altered the plans differently than what they had planned, because I think and I'm not like telling you for sure because I don't know exactly what they were planning to do, but I know that X of Swords was made to be more afterwards than it was originally planned to be. So yeah, that a lot of it could have been that, and this is all speculation, but I think that's why they were eager to move on from their distributor and move to Penguin Random House to distribute the books, because they felt like that was they need a distributor with a more
kind of like a more
stability, I guess.
I was gonna say more like a factory belt, more like it just goes through.
Yeah.
I don't know the proper term. That's why I was like kind of stumbling.
So I'm curious, like, because things are changing in the X-Men, and there's going to be a new, you know, obviously there's always like a new set of things, and but yeah, it was last year was wild times, and I feel like they probably pushed their story a little faster than they wanted to try to get people, once they came back from the 3 months, to get, you know, back into it.
I feel like that was Marvel in a nutshell. With a lot of their titles, and I think having that kind of insight, I think that was very much true in the Spider-Man book. Books that have like that timetable, you have to bump out for the overarching story. Even Fantastic Four, look at Empire, look at Empire too, and like you said, I could definitely see how a lot of creators got frustrated with it. Even Hickman, I think Hickman just like released in his new adventure that he's doing with Substack, kind of his frustrations with that. It was kind of like hidden. I was like, ooh, like I could definitely see it. But either way, I think they're doing a great job kind of working around that. That's definitely a huge obstacle. But look at it this way. You've never had an X-Men book like this, like what Hickman is doing ever.
Yeah.
This is like history right here.
Yeah. Oh, I believe that too, 100%.
Which I unfortunately haven't been able to read Excalibur due to like not being able to pick up that many books at the time, and I really had to pick 2 X titles out of so many. But after what I've heard, especially from Brandon and from other people,
well, send me your address. Send me your address. I'll send you some comics.
Oh shoot! I mean, thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm still getting
So
the hardcover.
you can read. So you can read up on that stuff.
There you go.
Thank you so much, dude.
No worries.
I'm speechless right now, man. That's very kind of you.
It's all good. All good.
All right then. All right then. I guess Bryce, now you have no excuse.
Really don't. I'm planning on jumping back into it anyway. But I mean, that's
there's always Marvel Unlimited too.
that's true. That is true.
Excalibur, yeah, it is brave.
It is really weird stuff for sure. It was a lot of stuff I had no idea of. Like I kind of figured, like I kind of knew peripherally, but man, yeah, that Arthurian legend stuff is like it's like nuts, and it's so deep ingrained into what Excalibur and some of the X-Men stuff was that it's like a serious deep dive if you wanted to.
Right. It's just great. Also, just seeing like a lot of these characters kind of coming together. I like how Gambit does it. It's not overly Gambit, but Gambit's still there, and we're kind of just learning about more characters and getting to know their situation on Krakoa, which, like I said, we haven't been able to see. And Excalibur, I'm a huge Magic fan, and I'm huge in like medieval shit. So that's like I was like, this book is. And Teeny's great at executing it. I feel like she's really good at kind of pacing out where she wants to strike, and where she wants to manipulate certain characters.
Did you see the news?
That she'll be working with Hickman
at DC.
Oh, I didn't hear the DC.
Yeah, it just broke. I think I just saw the headline.
I'm not check the headline.
What's the news?
Basically, she's gonna be going to DC next
on an exclusive. No, not exclusive. No. She's doing Substack.
No, she's going to DC to do some kind of project.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. Well, I heard Mark Waid's returning in 2022, which is dope.
Good.
I didn't hear about.
I love Mark Waid's stuff.
I didn't hear about Teeny, so.
I sent the link in the thing. In the chat.
Oh, in our chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big news. Well, I think it's big. I think it's big news.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, did I just freeze? I just froze.
All
right, there we go. Okay. So when does that mean Excalibur's ending soon?
Don't know if he can really say that without them announcing it. It might be a little.
Okay, he can. Okay.
Did I freeze there for a second?
I think
I guess I froze. I guess I froze.
Yeah, you froze.
I think you froze like me. Okay, yeah, this is another cool question. Thoughts on Tim Drake and Titans? I guess this is a cool little wrap up for a little Tim Drake segment.
You know what?
Here.
I have not seen Titans.
I am okay. Then I think it's very rushed. I think Tim Drake should have waited for another season or another 2 seasons, depending on the fact that we're getting Red Hood and we just got Nightwing. This is so collapsed. I'm like, nothing has room to breathe. It has no room to breathe. And if you're, I hate to say, well, if you're looking at the timeline, you're going from Titans issue 44 in 1985 to Tim Drake's first appearance in 19 what something. 19,
I want to say
88, 89.
Yeah,
mixed with a little under the Red Hood.
Jason Todd coming in as Red Hood in like what 2004, 2002, something like that. And I'm like, oh, I don't care. I'm like, no, stop. Go away.
That being said, I think the actor they chose has played the character well so far. We haven't seen that much of him, but
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I mean,
I just hate the pacing of Titans. I just hate. I just so angry. I'm not angered. I'm just so like dumbfounded. Cause I'm like, if this is what Jeff Johns left DC for, why didn't he make a good project? Like if he stopped, or if this is why Doomsday Clock was delayed for years and years and years, and we got a bad Doomsday Clock, we're getting a horrible Titans, and I'm like, oh, and we had a horrible 3 Jokers. So I'm like, I'm out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like 3 Jokers.
And I love Jeff Johns. I love Jeff Johns, which is why I feel so let down. That's just me.
Well, I mean, like maybe his TV stuff isn't as strong as his comic stuff, but I mean, I haven't seen Titans, so I can't put it really. But I understand that kind of feeling of it.
It's definitely, which I was talking to Brandon about this earlier in the show. Titans almost to me feels like an Elseworlds, very much an Elseworlds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can look at it with that lens, it's extremely enjoyable.
Well, how do you feel about Gotham? You know, the weird one.
Oh, I love
I haven't
Gotham.
seen Gotham.
I love Gotham.
I kind of oddly like it too. It's so
Such a
campy
guilty-
and out there, but I don't know. It's so
it just has a pleasing aspect of this is where all these villains came from.
yeah. And if you kind of you know, like relatively omit timeline a little bit too, because you know Bruce is really really young in that one.
Oh yeah, and Bane just comes in skinny as like a little toothpick.
Yeah.
That's in like the last
YouTube
season.
clips of young Bruce Wayne in Gotham, and I love it.
It was great. It was great.
Just because he's such a douchebag.
I loved how they did Penguin and Riddler. I think that was like the highlight for me, and the fact that they lasted over like almost every character. And Jim Gordon was great. This is why I love every villain when they're not being overused by Joker.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is it gave these other kind of rogue characters their spotlight that gets overshadowed by Joker a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would recommend Gotham to someone just so you can have that aspect.
But it's very like really over the top killing.
Oh yeah, everyone freaking dies at some point
and in the most ridiculous way.
Right.
Zack Snyder's over here taking notes.
I think he was. No, I feel like Zack Snyder's just an edgy teen at the end of the day who doesn't want girls to know he's into comics.
I love
That's just what I get.
I love his DC movies. They're like Man of Steel, I love. Batman v Superman is a bit of a guilty pleasure. And then his Justice League is one of my top movies of the year.
If there's one person's movies that gets me riled up in my discussion is Zack Snyder. But I can have the conversation with people that like it because I do understand that aspect of it. You know?
I wasn't a huge fan of the Justice League. Like, I liked it. It was fine. But it was too long and too little, and it was as soon as Superman comes in, it's a wrap. You can't do any. I'm sorry, but you can't. At the end of the day, you can't do shit with Steppenwolf. But I don't know.
And then there's like, first of all, I love the fact that it was 4 hours long. Like, you're talking to somebody who's like, Lord of the Rings Extended Edition binge? Yes, please.
Yeah, but Lord of the Rings Extended Edition was a very direct story.
Okay, yeah, that's true. This was broken
so it felt
in very.
Yeah, Justice League, just to break it down, is relatively choppy in how, because there's a lot of scenes that kind of, if I'm talking about the movie and not being mean, the biggest problem I think I had with Justice League was that there was a lot of parts where it's like lasted too long. Like whenever you're creating, or at least how I think about it, at least there's a point where the effect of what you're trying to get the audience to feel is too much already. So I think Justice League had a little bit too much of that, where it's like just a little bit. It needed to be edited for sure, in my opinion, to make it a little bit.
I want to know where they had their cuts and what they cut out of that, because I don't know.
Because like The Hobbit, I felt the same way. Like Lord of the Rings, I love, but The Hobbit, there was too many extra scenes where it's like that was too long.
That's what I felt like with Prisoner of Azkaban with Harry Potter. I was like, oh, that could have got cut. Oh, that could have got cut.
Yeah, because with a movie, because with TV you can do it a little bit more because you have multiple episodes to kind of build that thing. With a movie, it kind of has to be a little bit more concise, just because this is how I feel about it. Just because everything they do should lead in a linear direction for the most part, unless if you're Memento and you go backwards or whatever. But
backwards and
forward. Or what was that other?
In the middle.
What was that other movie? Oh, that same guy. Oh my gosh, it had
The Machinist.
No, it got kicked off of Netflix. I can't think of it. I can't think of it right now. It was on Netflix and it got removed. And I think it's on Amazon now. It starred Leonardo DiCaprio and.
Is Shudder?
Are you talking about Inception?
Yeah.
Oh, Inception. Oh, you should see. It's another one like that. I think it's called Shutter Island.
I'm sorry, but Inception was cool.
Shutter Island has that same feeling with Leo DiCaprio. If you like that weird like mind fuck, or I don't. Sorry.
Oh no, this is a PG. This is an R-rated show.
Okay, but it has a similar kind of like you're backtracking. So if you wanna watch a Shutter Island, give it a shot. It's really weird, and the ending is kind of like that. Oh. Okay.
2 hours,
Oh
2
my
extra
gosh.
hours of slow motion. I can see that. I can see people's gripes with the movies.
Right?
Same with all Zack Snyder movies.
My only thing,
even Man of Steel, which I love with a passion.
Man of Steel at least is a direct movie. Like the story was tight and edited properly, in my opinion. Though I think it would have worked better if the beginning where he's on, like I don't know, on the fishing boat and stuff like that, and in Antarctica actually was near the end, and then they flipped at the beginning. Like let's pretend that all the stuff that happened and he had to kill Zod made him like, go. I gotta go and like find myself, and it goes on this journey, and then
that would be
like
cool.
I felt like that maybe that would have worked better. Like it's, do you ever watch? There were some documentaries about the making of Star Wars: A New Hope, and how the editing, the editor or George Lucas's wife at the time basically edited it and took certain scenes and how she kind of like doubled up some of this or changed the sounds so that it's to craft the story with all of these things, and how that was kind of done so everything made better sense. It's really interesting, and it goes to show you kind of like you need to have a person in the room with you when you create these things to be like, I think it works better like this, and taking your craft and be like, that's good, but this will make it better just by adjusting placement and time used on the film. So it's quite interesting. If you look up, I think they're even just on YouTube. They discuss the editing process of Star Wars: A New Hope, and
which that's really you definitely need somebody in there that is as unbiased as possible, because if it's just you looking at it, you will show unwarranted favor towards it.
Well, it's like your child. You're not going to tell your child they're ugly, but someone else would be like, "Yo, man,
whoa! If I have an ugly child, that's the first thing we're working on." I'm sorry, but
Brandon, no offense, but you're not off to a good start. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Damn, this is my own show. I'm gonna start talking to the wall over here in a second. You know what? Let me just talk to Matt Murdock. He's not in the best shape, but he's there.
Nice.
Well, how's he gonna know if you're ugly? He can't see you. Actually, no, that might work.
But just to make everyone feel better, you can watch Zack Snyder's Justice League 5 times before you can ever get Kanye's new album. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Oh my word!
I'm sorry, but I'm very disappointed. I'm still disappointed.
Donda changed its name to Donde Está.
right. I'm like, I've never been more hyped for a Kanye West album, and you don't even drop it.
Yeah. Donda's gonna end up being the new Mutants.
Oh, thanks, Jack. That my Valiant work is pretty small, so it's interesting seeing someone that knew I did some Valiant stuff in the past.
Yeah,
I've never read any Valiant, but I might have to check it out now.
By the way, guys, Marcus also did Nightwing.
I did a lot of everything, to be honest. I've been in the industry for almost in 2023, it'll be 20 years.
Damn, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you're still going strong.
I don't know about strong, but still
You're
going.
going. God damn it. He's going.
I'm lifting my carcass up the mountain still.
Oh my.
Hey, when you get to the top, at least you don't reenact Jack and Jill. But anyway, Marcus, it was great having you on the show. Coming
Thanks for
back
having me.
as always. If you guys want to keep up Marcus's art, I dropped everything in the description below. Also, the hardcover for Excalibur comes out soon. So
yeah, really soon. I can't remember the exact day, but yeah,
it's got to be within the next couple of weeks.
Pick it up. It's going to look great. If you kind of like the way that the Daredevil hardcover came out, or the Venom hardcovers, or the Avengers hardcover that no one picked up, definitely pick this one up because it's worth your time and your money. But Marcus, thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. It was fantastic to finally get to meet you.
Well,
Look forward to hopefully having some conversations with you in the future.
Yeah, I'd love to. I like a lot of random things we could talk about.
Yeah. It's funny because whenever creators, I'm like, yeah, let's talk about like just books we're reading. And I'm like, if we can do a segment where we just have 3 creators and I'm just here sitting there. That'd be so cool.
It might be too much ego for one place, though. Creators, all of us creators like have a lot of ego.
Not as much as you think.
I'm right there with you in a different way. I always say I'm an engineering major in college, and I always joke about us having a superiority complex. So
it's the ring. It's the ring.
I'm a law major. I've worked in a law firm before, and they keep score of how many cases they've won in a courtroom. I'm sorry, you don't get much more ego than that.
So yeah, we're all big
dudes. Dudes got a lot of ego. How about that?
A lot of ego. Yeah.
Just throw them in an ice rink and drop the gloves. Anyway, all right, Marcus, it was great having you on. Have a great rest of your evening, man.
Thanks.
Have a great evening, man.
Thought he would never leave. No, I'm kidding. That was awesome, you guys. That was awesome. Let's get back to why we're doing the show. That was Marcus. Make sure you guys keep up with his work as always. Holy crap, we have a stack of books to talk about, and we've been an hour into the show. We talked about 3 books. Bryce, what else did you read this week?
I read Daredevil.
Oh, I read that too. Let's talk about Daredevil.
By Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto back, finally.
There we go.
Oh, man. You guys don't know how happy I am to be able to say that. And
for
what
real.
an issue to bring him back on, too.
For real, man. For real.
Like, this is probably one of the stronger stories. One of the better stories in this whole Matt Murdock prison arc. Especially with the twist ending that I won't spoil because I know a lot of people like to save Daredevil because it's a very consistent book.
Well, because also if you're reading Daredevil, you know you're gonna like it. If you're not reading Daredevil, you don't give 2 shits about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't jumped on Daredevil at this point, I know you've got friends telling you, you must just not care.
Right.
But I won't spoil the ending. Just because it's kind of great, isn't it?
Oh yeah. But where we've kind of been in this book is kind of it's okay. We're doing a lot of cloning with Bullseye, and that's kind of why there are multiple.
You get a bullseye.
You get a bullseye. Are they bullseye or just bullseyes? Bullseye. Multiple bullseye. I don't know, but whatever. There are a lot of them.
Bullseye?
I don't know. That's a good question. That is a very good question. But yeah, Elektra gets her ass kicked. We're kind of dealing.
Pretty much
with everything going on and with Izzy continuing that kind of story, and then we get to Detective North and see how he's handling the jail situation. So it's just more of the same shit, just a different issue.
Get some more Butch and Mike Murdock in there too.
Yeah, a little bit. They have their moments, like kind of every 3rd issue.
Yeah, we do get some characters in this that we've had in the past. Tony Stark again makes an appearance like he did in the issues prior to Matt going to jail.
Right.
And now he's here to kind of assist Elektra in a way.
Right.
There was a bit of a Spider-Man tease, so maybe that'll add something going forward.
Maybe, but also...
He was just kind of in the shadows, but...
Yeah, but Daredevil... All right, Zdarsky had a lot of issues getting the rights for Spider-Man in, like, getting permission to use him in, like, what, issue 4 anyway. So I don't think he's going to come
like
around
issue
anyway.
11 or 12.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to see Spider-Man, but it's Daredevil, you guys. It is consistent. It is fantastic. And if you're not reading it, again, Marvel Unlimited, or you're buy the hardcover and collect it that way. Consume it that way, rather. But let's dive into some X books. I want to start by talking about Children of the Atom #6 by Vita Ayala and Paco Medina. This book takes place in the Hellfire Gala. As we know, is a gimmick, is a mutant unlike the rest of the group. So the rest of these characters are wannabe mutants. They're in like kind of tech suits, which is why they were never able to get into Krakoa or do anything. But Gimmick is, and she went to the Hellfire Gala. And this book is so frustrating because I can see why this book would work, but I can also see the errors in the scripting and the issues in the fact that it was delayed, and we knew it was delayed from the get-go. But Vita's still doing their best to kind of pull everything together. It's just not working, and I want it to work. I really want this book to work, a lot, which it is what it is. But it takes place in the Hellfire Gala, and I was like, I'm over the Hellfire Gala. We haven't been in the Hellfire Gala in weeks.
Since the end of June.
So we're in August now. We're still dealing. I didn't like it. I don't like it.
Hickman is rolling over in his Substack money right now.
I don't know. It just felt weird. It just felt weird. By the way, if you guys want to drop a comment in the comment section and give this video a thumbs up, that'd be great. I to say that, and that's something all YouTubers kind of have to say. I never do. I always forget. I'm like, I feel like if you're here, you're gonna like, and if you like what you're seeing, you're gonna leave a comment. If you don't, then I'm like, okay, you're just here you're just here because I told you to be here.
But yeah, we also had X-Force out this week, which I thought was a pretty decent issue. Wasn't anything fantastic, but it was enjoyable. So this issue is basically, we're still dealing with the plant life and the Terra Verde, but this is more of a revenge plot issue.
Right.
This guy named Dr. What's his name? Dr. Bloodroot.
Right. What a cool name.
Right.
That actually is a cool name.
I kept wanting to read it as Bloodsport, but it's Bloodroot.
Wait, why did I read it as... Yeah, I think I did. Wait. Okay.
Did you read it as Bloodsport?
I think I did.
But yeah, so basically, Dr. Bloodroot blames the mutants for the death of his wife because of the drugs that they've been putting out.
He's a mad doctor.
He's basically a mad doctor, yeah.
Mad scientist, sorry.
And so one of the Terra Verdeans comes along and basically offers him a way to get back at the mutants by infecting him with the telefloronic virus, basically.
Right.
And so we've got Beast and Sage kind of studying what's going on. They've got, what's his name, Manslaughter, basically held hostage to try to figure out what's going on. And we find out that Manslaughter kind of holds a similar genetic makeup to this virus.
Right.
So we're actually getting somewhere now in them figuring out what's going on with all this. It's taken 22 issues, which I have an issue with. But
oh, fuck you.
But better late than never. Better late than never. At least they're trying to tie up the threads and they're not just letting them dangle.
Right.
Which I respect. At the end of the day, I respect.
Right. I really like.
Then basically, Dr. Bloodroot is going on a rampage, and it's up to X-Force and Manslaughter to kind of stop him from destroying Krakoa.
Right. And yeah, they invaded, and it was cool because you got to see what X-Force is supposed to be. Like everything I wanted X-Force to be, I kind of felt like in this book, kind of like the CIA bodyguards of Krakoa, and I was like, that's just great. Domino had her moments, Wolverine had his moments, and Manslaughter kind of venturing off, kind of being like the Swamp Thing of the group. I found it to be very, very enjoyable, actually.
Yeah, I have a major issue with this book, a major problem.
You have issues with an issue?
This cover. I have a
Oh,
huge problem with this cover.
Yeah, why is Forge on the front?
Forge is one of my favorite mutants.
But he has nothing to do with this book.
I'm always stoked to see Forge in an issue of X-Force.
But he wasn't even in it.
Forge, and why is he on this cover? Where's Kid Omega? I love Kid Omega. Where's Kid Omega? And why
Kid Omega is... I think Kid Omega... No, Kid Omega... Oh, wait, no, I was in a different book I was reading. Sorry. I just finished reading Jason Aaron's Star about like a month ago, and Kid Omega had a scene in there where he's just chilling on the beach, and I'm like, wait, he was there. I'm like, never mind, that was like 4 or 5 years ago. But
why is Kid Omega on this cover?
Regardless,
that's my biggest problem with it. It's the cover.
Yeah, I can see it. I kind of want to finish up actually, we're talking about a Marvel book. Let me finish over here at Marvel. Spider-Man Spider Shadow wrapped up another Zdarsky issue. Yeah, Zdarsky has issues this week. This is by Pascal Ferry, and it just wraps up everything that we love about this book, and kind of the extension of the world. What if Spider-Man kind of got consumed by the symbiote? We've seen it kind of invade the Fantastic Four, and Reed Richards got infected and started infecting other superheroes, so Spider-Man has to defeat them all. This artwork felt like the weakest out of the 5 issues. That's because like they gave him an extra issue, and I think Pascal Ferry's like, let's just get this shit done. Yeah. But it wrapped up very well. We had some tragedy in there with the death of a character and a replacement on said team that it's a part of. I'm not going to spoil it, but we did have a pretty tragic death and kind of a cool kind of ending. And we kind of had a little plot twist at the end to if this story was ever picked up again, it could venture off into that with a major character that got his ass kicked by Spider-Man. That was kind of one of the victims of Spider-Man's rage as a symbiote. So I think this was a very good book. I think it's a very good ending. This is the best Spider-Man book we've had in a very long time, so I'm very happy about that. And it's a what-if story. It's kind of saying a lot about how Marvel views Spider-Man and their thing. Isn't there going to be a Robbins comic featuring a Robbins? Yes, it's by Tim Seeley, and I'm not excited for it. I don't care.
I'm going to check it out.
I don't care.
I've wanted a Robbins book for a while.
Well,
Bat Family book.
I'm going to read it, but it's like, how many more freaking Bat Family books are you going to put out there? It's out the ass right now.
If Robbins, honestly, if Robbins is good, I would drop Batman for it.
I might be dropping Detective Comics because I
already did.
I just don't care.
I already did.
Like I'm sorry, like I love Batman stories, but they're just not. I'd rather have one great Batman book than a bunch of average books. And to me right now, I feel like the Batman market has been very subpar. Like their issues, like some of them are like, oh my God, this is great. And then some's like, this is, and then it'll be completely average. But when that one's average, the other one will be really great. So I'm like, it's like going up and here, up and down, up and down. And then we have Reptilian, which I'm like, this is a great book, but it'll look so much better oversized and all like, cool looking. Like they did like the Batman Damn treatment. But anyway, back to Symbiote Spider-Man.
Spider Shadow.
Yeah, that one. Sure. There's really nothing much to say. We get a team up with Spider-Man and Human Torch battling the Fantastic Four and other heroes.
Oh, that's always great.
Yeah, it's like, Zdarsky's kind of loves Spider-Man and he loves Human Torch. Read his 2-in-1, which no one knows about because it was before Zdarsky became a household name. Yeah, but had a cool twist at the end. And that's Spider Shadow. Pick it up. If you haven't read it, give it a shot in trade.
And I think this is like the relaunch of the What If line.
Yeah.
So there will be more to follow.
Yeah, so Zdarsky is kind of headlining the What If. He's headlining it, but he's not. He's expanding like the What If market because it used to be like, here's just this one story. It starts, ends in one issue, and who gives a shit after that? This also is like, let's build a world. Right? So I like it much better. So yeah, there's that. Spider Shadow, check it out, read it. It was great. And it's hard. At the end of the day, it's harmless. So that there's that reason. It's not a book that's gonna game change. It's a good story, and it's kind of like, if you want a Spider-Man book where you don't need to think too much, just go with the flow. That's it. That's just the vibes it gives off.
Yeah. I do have another DC book I would love to talk about, though. Speaking of Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah, there is going to be an old DC medieval book, which is going to be by Tom Taylor and Yasmin Putri.
Oh shoot, yeah, Dark Knights of Steel. I saw that news.
Yeah, I'm like,
today or
what a
yesterday.
shitty name. But it's gonna be great. I'm excited.
But
Yeah, go for it.
great story, great writer, great book. Not a crappy name. Justice League Last Ride.
Oh, this book was bonkers. I think this is my pick of the week.
This book was fantastic. This
is my pick of the week. This book was so freaking good.
This or Daredevil are my pick of the week so far.
This book was fantastic.
I was telling you earlier, I'm torn because this issue overall was better, but the ending of Daredevil was so much better.
I know, but this book was a dub. This book was great.
So basically, in a nutshell, we finally find out just what happened to Martian Manhunter.
And what happened to the Justice League.
And what happened to Justice League, yeah.
Why they're pissed at each other.
Well, it's really just Batman and Superman who are ticked at each other.
Yeah, but Wally West ends up being Superman's guidance counselor by the end of the issue. What's up, Bobby Station?
Bobby?
Station, my friend. If you haven't caught the replay, you missed Marcus already. So definitely check it out. We had a lot of fun. You just missed him. Like 10 minutes missed him.
But yeah, this story is very much this issue especially. I would say is the most important issue of the run so far.
Yeah.
And will be when it comes out in trade or hardcover or whatever.
Oh, it'll get hardcover treatment.
It'll be the turning point.
Yes.
In the binge read.
Yes. And it looks great. This
It
issue
looks fantastic.
This is the best drawn issue. If you look at the characters that are all together, this has a lot of room to breathe, and it's so involving of every character.
This is the probably the best colored issue too, in my opinion.
I would say previous two were colored great because like I love the whole space Earth dynamic, space apocalypse dynamic in there. This issue for me really stood out because I've always loved Martian Manhunter, and his relationship to the Justice League goes so unnoticed.
Very
kind of like it takes a special creator to point that out, just like when Red Tornado was talked about in the Brad Meltzer run. That was very much like, it was like, wow, this is a great moment for Red Tornado. This is a great moment for Martian Manhunter because it shows his kind of not, for lack of better, for kind of like a pun, his flexibility.
Oh my word. His intangibility, if you will.
Yes, his intangibility and his ability to be that team player in the Justice League that can do everything. You know, I would say he's the most I would even make the argument that he is the most important member of the Justice League. Because he's always doing work behind the scenes. He's always great in the front lines. He's always great at making quick decisions. He's a translator, a telepath. There's really something that Martian Manhunter like cannot do other than stay alive in this book, but that's a different story.
Just do not invite him to your campfire.
I'm just not inviting him to my wedding. He'll freaking cosplay all my family members and turn them against each other. And I'm Jewish. That's already Civil War in a nutshell.
Oh my lord. No, I feel like that would be Miss Martian. Not so much Manhunter.
Yeah, so this is great, you know, and we're getting more of a glimpse of Darkseid's kind of role and why they want to hide him in there. Martian Manhunter's basically Red Tornado. I can agree to that. I can attest to that. He's just so wise. He's also like the Alfred Pennyworth of the Justice League.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Although not quite, because nobody's Alfred.
Right. So, yeah, we get more Hal Jordan in his Emerald Dawn kind of suit, which is great because we don't have Hal Jordan in the freaking comics right now. Sorry, but that strikes a nerve.
Travesty.
How do you not have Hal Jordan in your freaking Green Lantern book? How do you not have a good Green Lantern book in the better part of 8 years? Sorry.
My question is, how is Hal Jordan the only relevant Green Lantern that you don't feature? Because even Alan Scott is featured in Infinite Frontier.
Jessica Cruz is relevant to an extent. Jon Stewart, I would say, is not a main character as much as people would like him to be. I'm sorry, but
he's a Justice Leaguer.
He's a Justice Leaguer, and he just he's a role fitter. The only two Green Lanterns that could make it as main character are Kyle and Hal. I'm sorry.
Not even Jessica?
Jessica, too early to tell, man.
What about Joe from Far Sector?
Again, it's too early to tell because Joe had her own series, but can she make a her own. Here's the thing that I like of Green Lanterns: they can sell when they're. If they make a break a Justice League book, that's how you know they're a good character. John Stewart is only in a when John Stewart's in a Snyder's Justice League book. It wasn't, oh my god, John Stewart's in here. It's he's there, right? John Stewart, if he ever got an ongoing series, it would be canceled within 13 issues. Same thing with Jessica Cruz right now. What happened to Kilowog? Kilowog
series was canceled.
I believe Kilowog is dead. Is Kilowog dead? I think
Kilowog's not dead in this book.
Not in this book. Well, this is an Elseworlds book.
Yeah.
But in continuity, if I'm thinking back to the Green Lantern 80th, he's dead. But Kyle would sell. Kyle sold. Look at Grant Morrison's Justice League. Hal will sell. Jessica, not yet. Joe, I don't know if she'll make it in normal continuity. Because there's so much competition with the Green Lanterns right now.
Yeah.
Because they're doing too much. They're doing too much.
I can see that for sure.
But it's striking a nerve. And we have a Brainiac Superman kind of coming in at the end of Justice League Last Ride. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Kind of cool. Kind of pretty, kind of gnarly. Check it out. It's 4 issues in, ends in 3, so you can probably find the floppies and read them then. If not, if you're trade reading it, I completely understand. It'll read great both ways.
Oh, yeah.
I'll probably get the hardcover anyway because I'm a sucker.
I will too.
But let's talk about a book coming out from our friends over at Wonder Woman by Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, and guest artist Emanuela Lupacino, who is fantastic. This book is Diana on Earth with Siegfried, and they're kind of exploring the Hall of Justice, and they get attacked by Diana's kind of alter ego coming out of death metal, and it's just a big kind of a mixture of the Justice League from a different Earth versus Diana and Siggy as she brings Siegfried in. We got your Dead Man, and you have Ratatosk, who plays a great role in this because Ratatosk is a badass. And
Ratatosk is goated.
Ratatosk is the best character.
He's not even a squirrel anymore. He's a goat.
He's just a goat. Exactly. He's the best character. So we kind of see a bunch of different characters. They're going at their alter ego in this book, and it's great.
Interesting.
It's very action-packed. There's a lot to take in, and it's leading. This book is just doing more than any other Wonder Woman book I can say has ever done. Like, I've never seen a more heartfelt, bombastic, natural Wonder Woman book. That's just an adventure. And that's just the one thing that every Wonder Woman book has lacked in the past is that sense of adventure that Diana has always craved. Which is why I don't think I've ever been one to really take up on Wonder Woman, because she's never had that until now. Which, guys, if you're sleeping on this book, stop it, pick it up. It's 7 issues in. So
the current, if you don't want to jump in the middle of the arc, the story arc ends in 2 issues, and it's been coming out bi-monthly, so you should be able to jump on within the next month if you don't want to jump in right now.
Right, and I believe the trade comes out in sometime in November or December, if I'm not mistaken. Oh my god, I'm sure we will have. I'm sure we will have Becky and Michael on the show sooner than later to discuss this more thoroughly, kind of towards the end of the arc, but.
Yes, absolutely.
I want this one because it's issue 777. Yeah.
Which we
Gotham versus Titans, which is better? Gotham.
I haven't seen Gotham, so
another DC book I'm reading, but I'm not enjoying. Well, I'm enjoying Wonder Woman. I'm enjoying it a lot. I didn't enjoy this issue with Joker, which I was very surprised by Tynion and Gilliam March. His book was very weird because it was just an anthology of Jim Gordon and his family life that I just don't care about. I just don't care. I'm sorry, I didn't care. But Infinite Frontier, that's another book I read and don't care about because Joshua Williamson doesn't know how to pace this fucking book. Also, there are a plethora of artists that don't blend together when it jumps between Earths. It feels weird. And there are characters that people are not used to reading that are written like, oh, you didn't read them when they were created in 1987. Haha, screw you. And it's like everyone's gripe with why they don't get into X-Men is in this book. So
that makes sense.
The fact that this is your flagship book to addressing your continuity is sad and pathetic. That's all I have to say about it. It is. I'm sorry.
I'm a couple issues behind, and I've enjoyed what I've read so far, but I definitely get where the frustrations are coming from.
Like I like Thomas Wayne, and I like Ellis.
Yeah.
But I don't like the fact that Roy Harper is the Black Lantern and we're expected to be okay with it without addressing what he's been through. And it's like we're still getting that kind of poster boy mentality of him. Like, oh, he's the poster boy, blah. I hate this little sneaky we had of the Robin suit. Yeah. Me too. But it's just, this book is just not, it's hard to follow because I feel like when you blend all these earths together, but the public is aware of it, I think Joshua Williamson wants you to understand, oh yeah, the public knows about it, but he's using it for a comedic effect rather than a plot point. But we also have to worry about Darkseid. I'm like, can't Darkseid just freaking destroy everyone? And everyone's just like, oh wait, Darkseid here. But you're kind of figuring it out across different Earths that Darkseid is there. And then you have Barry running for his life literally on a treadmill or a hamster wheel. And it doesn't mean anything. So I'm only reading this book because it is such a flagship book for what Infinite Frontier is. And I've been saying this to a lot of people. And if this is your first time reading DC, you're going to understand that DC's continuity doesn't kick in right away. Right now in DC, you have a bunch of independent titles. I'd say they're independent stories, right? Because you can read them without reading anything else. Their comics are not really talking to each other unless it's Batman and Suicide Squad and Teen Titans. But because they don't have to talk to each other yet. But as soon as this book is done, they have to. And I feel like that's when DC is going to fall flat in its face. I'm sorry. That's just my hot take. Because they did it anyway. They've been doing it. They did it with New 52. They did it with Rebirth. This is no exception, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but this book is not doing a good job of bringing the universe together. Of course, Tim Drake is bisexual. I mean, I don't mind it. We had a pretty lengthy discussion about it, so definitely catch the rewind about it. It was an important conversation. But
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Personally, I really couldn't care less as long as he's still Tim Drake.
Right. Bryce, what else did you read?
DC had a couple great books that came out last week that I really want to touch on.
Right.
First one I'll just mention real quick: The Swamp Thing, #6. Rom V, Mike Perkins, Mike Spicer. This book is fantastic.
Oh, that book. That was a fantastic issue, man. If you give me 10 thumbs down, I'm taking 10 of your slabs. I'm sorry.
This is a book. This is a book that when it better get released in hardcover because I will be buying it.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Is like a lot of these books for DC, I'm like, wow, this is great. And then you like the overarching concept of their universe. I'm like, oh my god, that sucks.
Yeah, but yeah, if you guys haven't been reading Swamp Thing, if you've been reading this, you're gonna read it. Okay. If not, I just want to recommend this to you guys.
Right.
There's so much to get into that I really can't give a spoiler-free review. Just because it's such an in-depth and layered story, as a good Swamp Thing story should be. And books like this that have a little bit of a horror aspect to it, especially written by Rom V, really makes me look forward to what him and Al Ewing are going to do with Venom. Because you have Al Ewing's cosmic mind mixed with Rom V's horror mind.
Right. Yeah, it's a great book for sure. I also feel like it's Rom V saying, hey, F you guys, bring back Vertigo.
Yeah.
Which I feel like whoever's in charge of Black Label now, I feel like, and I've been speaking a lot about how Black Label is going to die. I don't think that's the case anymore because their Black Label books as of late, or their more horror books, have been getting a lot more attention. To where they're now doing like Wonder Woman books, which we're gonna see in the near future, coming October, which we're gonna have some people on, some creators on the show then that I can't announce right now, but I will soon. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys, Ron Garney will be on the show next Thursday, so tune in for that. Oh yeah, I haven't announced that really anywhere. So here's where you're getting it first. No, second, I dropped it earlier today. It's somewhere else. But do we think Tim Drake's rush? I don't know if it was rushed. I feel like I would have liked to see more of Tim before them doing that. But at the end of the day, right, who am I to say what it was, if it was rushed? Because you never, like a character, is that something you rush? Is that something you rush, or does it feel rushed because it's a decision of a character that's been around for 30 years?
I don't know. I mean...
if I'm in show, yeah, at the end of the day, I don't care, right? That's it.
Yeah,
I don't care. It doesn't. As a straight person, it affects me because I'm glad that now we have another character that can be appreciated for who they are, right, and can be loved. But at the end of the day, sexuality to me does not define a person.
Exactly. Never has.
Right? So if they're going to make the move, which they did, right, I'm all for it. I support it 120,000% Monday through Friday, especially on Saturdays, 5 times 100 on Sundays. Okay? I just made those numbers up. But if they're going to take away, like, why we love Tim Drake, because he's witty, because he's smart, because he's very empathetic, then I will start. Because then I'm like, okay, time out. He's still the same dude, right? He's still the same character.
As long as they don't feed into the stereotypes and alter his character because of this decision, it doesn't matter.
We didn't fall in love with Tim Drake because he was straight. I've never met a person say, I love Tim Drake because he's straight. I've never said that. I've never heard that.
And if that is the case, I mean,
then they're idiots. I'm sorry.
Good for you, I guess, for loving a character, but I don't get it.
Right.
But, you know, speaking of Robin, another book from last week that I wanted to talk about that I was honestly blown away by, more so than I have been in a while from this book, was Batman issue 111. I thought this issue was great. This was almost my pick of the week from last week. We're really leaning into, I think the next issue starts Fear State, and I think they set it up beautifully. I'm so excited for this new Scarecrow that we've been getting. This honestly super sadistic Scarecrow almost feels like a character out of a horror movie.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know, Batman's getting good. I'm going to be sad to see Tynion leave. I wish him the best in his creator-owned endeavors, but I'm going to be sad to see him leave Batman.
I am, because I think his characters had a lot of promise, or I think Miracle Molly did, and Punchline had promise, because they did speak to people. I'm sorry, they did. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care what y'all say. Punchline, as an edgy teenager, can relate to a lot of people. I don't judge you, because we've all been in our edgy stages of our life. Okay? I don't know. I feel like Batman was always a side project for Tynion. So I knew it was coming. I'm sorry. I knew it was coming. I hated how his haircut looked in the comic, but they were the same way. Exactly. But speaking of bad haircuts, I told my barber long on top, and she said, "Is this okay?" I said, "No." But anyway, announcements for the show, because I haven't eaten yet and I want to go do that. Like I said, Ron Garney will be on the show next week, followed by creators. John Romita Jr. will be coming back to the show sometime in September, followed by Terry Dodson and Matt Fraction, booked up for September. Creators Corner is booked up all the way through November, so that's going to be exciting.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's never happened. It's exciting. Other than that, you can find us dropping a Thor review whenever we feel like it, because we haven't even shot it yet. I'm down to record whenever you are, Bryce. And I'm going to be collabing with some people for other reviews. We're going to bring in a show called Archives, where we read a trade paperback and discuss, break it down for you guys, kind of in like a podcasty style. This is kind of our flagship show called Weekly Wrap Up. You can catch the live show every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Where we do exactly what we're doing now. And we tell you all about the books you may need to know or not need to know about. Or even if you're not reading a book, you can still feel caught up in a way, which is great, which we like to do because we read a lot of books and we want to talk about it. So
we do read a good bit. You still end up somehow reading a good bit more than I do.
That's because I'm buying. My pull list has not been below. This is the first week it's been below 20 since June.
See, and I usually keep mine to about 7 to 10 books a week.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy. It's crazy, you guys. But it's been an incredible journey. I can't wait for more. Thank you all for the support. If you guys want to follow us on our platforms, you can find Bryce over at Hillbilly Comics, dropping a lot of hauls, maybe some book reviews. You can follow me.
I might be shooting some pretty soon. Who knows?
Dope. So definitely give Bryce a follow. And you can also follow me on Comics Kings, both on Instagram and TikTok, because I started doing TikToks. I figured since
they've been solid too. I've enjoyed all your TikToks. Definitely follow.
Yeah, the TikToks have just been a good way for me to connect with more of an audience and have fun, just bullshitting about characters. It's kind of just me like having fun with it because I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that I want to be professional about that I'm like TikTok is like the perfect place to not be professional, so let's do it. But yeah, you guys, I recently did an interview with Steve Englehart that was last week. If you guys want to go catch that replay, we talked about Shang-Chi. Can you hear me? There we go. We talked about Shang-Chi a lot, so that was great. And yeah, that's it for the show. We'll be back.
Sweet.
I think
guys, thank you again for tuning in. See y'all next week.